Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw for Virtual Vacation Events, and we're here with a really tremendous panel of, and depending on what you want to call it, tour operations, guided vacations. These are escorted tours, all these different categories, and these are some of the top luxury escorted companies in the business. They do have some WFITs as well, but we're going to talk with them about how the whole notion of guided vacations has changed during, especially luxury guided vacations has changed during the pandemic and heading out as we emerge. And let me just introduce our panel. And if you could just raise your hand as I mention you, so that everyone knows who you are. It was Jennifer Tombaugh, who's the president of Tauck. We have Guy Young, who's the president of Luxury Gold and Insight Vacations. They gave him 2 jobs. Keith Barron, who's the president-U.S. for Abercrombie and Kent. We have Sherwin Banda, who's the president of African Travel, Inc. And finally, last but not least, we have Helen Giontsis, who is the president of Kensington Tours. Now, we're going to go straight into the questions, and we'll see what all our great people here have to say. Now, first of all, Jennifer, let me start with you, and then we'll chime in with the others. What makes for a luxury guided vacation experience, a luxury tour? What must it include in today's environment?
Well, the good news is that I think that the tenets have not changed at all. And that's really, I'm going to go back to the 3 Ps, which is about the peace of mind, the personal care, and the people. Because at the end of the day, as you said, we're guided, right? We have these amazing tour directors that are out there crafting these experiences for our guests. And I think we're all so eager to get back with those people, in addition to the locals and to our partners around the world. And we've always had the mantra that small is big. And we had that before the pandemic. And I think that's even more true now, because that idea of small has a different meaning. We were talking about over-tourism before, remember that? Right. But now we're back to safety, that in the bottom of that Maslow hierarchy of needs, of making sure somebody's personal safety is cared for. And that's what we all do so very well. But then having those smaller experiences that allow that crafted and tailoring service and that overall destination understanding is really what defines the luxury marketplace today.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Keith, same question, and you have a wide variety of programs. What makes for the luxury tour today, and is it anything different?
We do indeed, James. We offer, of course, tailor-made FIT product as well as group product. And the key, as Jennifer said, it really hasn't changed too much. It requires exceptional service, exceptional accommodations, exceptional experience, and that has to be maintained regardless of the environment that one travels in. So, of course, the best available hotels, of course, upgraded rooms, also private access to the most important sites, avoiding long lines, doing things in special ways, including surprises that only locals will know about, that people cannot easily recreate on their own. And importantly, and this can be said for any kind of touring, whether it's luxury touring or not, but local guides who are really masters in their craft, in their area of experience, and in conjunction with those local guides, A&K believes strongly in working with resident tour directors who are also local to the region, to the country, to the community, and they can provide experiences that create depth and authenticity that really kind of up the game for the luxury experience traveler, who oftentimes are seeking beyond those creature comforts, depth of experience, right, and things that are unique.
Yeah, and that is the experience is all about it. Now, Sherwin, the same question. You were actually focused really on Southern Africa, so you're very specialized in that sense. But what makes for that luxury experience in South Africa now?
We actually operate across 17 countries in Africa. Right. But, our colleagues on this panel have so eloquently articulated how luxury has evolved. But when we look at our business, we've literally seen how people have moved from this indulgent luxury experience to now more of this, true sense of meaning, and especially on the backs of a year that we've just lived through. people are wanting to connect not only with their loved ones and friends, but with a destination meaningfully. And it's very, very interesting, as we have seen, when people start selling with price, thinking that that's the key metric for luxury, they rob guests of an experience. And like our colleagues here have mentioned, is when you allow guests to delve deeper and really customize to their exact needs, that's true luxury. Luxury is personal. It is contextual to the traveler. And if we are able to discover those exact needs and matching the client with the right experience, with the right destination, it's luxury.
Absolutely. And obviously safari programs that you offer and other programs is true luxury. Now let's, Helen, sort of the same question, but what are we all focused in just delivering great amenities, accommodations, unique experiences? These are things guests can't get on their own if they're by themselves. So actually, in a way, a guided vacation or a small group guided vacation is a luxury, right?
Absolutely. And I think for Kensington Tours, a luxury guided vacation experience, it's about customization and it's about personalization. And it really starts by listening to the client and understanding what they really want to experience. We had a recent client who was looking to take a trip to Egypt and surprise his wife for their 50th anniversary. And our destination expert spent the time to understand exactly what was on her wish list and what she wanted to experience, and also created a really special evening and dinner for their celebration. So it's that level of personalization that I think makes for a true luxury experience.
No, absolutely. And Guy, I mean, your company, which has been around, Insight's been around a long time. Luxury Gold is a fairly new development, just a few years ago. But you kind of have to deliver. You really seek to deliver experiences absolutely that people can't get their own, right?
Exactly, James. So yes, I mean, I think today, staying in luxury hotels with great locations, exceptional dining, it's a given. Where we've really tried to focus our efforts with Luxury Gold is really around the experiences. And I think everyone spoke about that on the call already. But certainly, priority access, VIP experiences. So for example, we'll have a private after our tour of the Hermitage in St. Petersburg. It could be the Doge's Palace in Venice, where it's just our group alone in these incredible museums or locations. So really those VIP unique experiences. But I think what's really unique to Luxury Gold in particular is what we call our Chairman's Collection. So, to your point, it's all about providing unique access, really unique experiences. And we've really drawn on the connections that our chairman, Mr. Tolman, who is the founder and chairman of the Travel Corporation, he's used his personal connections to really give some really unique experiences to our guests. So, for example, you can go and meet the Duchess of Northumberland, where she'll take you on a private tour of a garden. You'll then have a lovely meal in the garden, and then you'll go with a local expert to visit the castle. And those are experiences that you cannot get on your own. And I think that's what makes us as guided vacation operators in the luxury segment so special. You cannot do these things on your own. And that's what we're leveraging with Luxury Gold to deliver to our guests.
No, absolutely. No, then it's all about experiences. And I'm going to jump ahead to one question and come back to the one that was going to be next. What has the pandemic done to the guided vacation tour market? How has it changed your product, if at all? Some of you have started operating. I know that. Some have not. But what have you had to do? And I guess the corollary to that, why is escorted vacations, guided vacations, why are they maybe more essential than ever given the pandemic? And I'm going to start with actually you, Helen. Why don't we talk with you about how the pandemic has affected your operations?
Well, obviously, overall travel volume has been down for us, as it has been across the entire industry. But over the last year, we still had clients traveling. We have the benefit of being custom and private. So if it was a small group of family or couples traveling together, we were still able to do that. We created a collection called Private Retreats that showcased destinations where our clients could be away from crowds with an emphasis on being outdoors. So I think that's certainly a trend we've been seeing over the last little while. And we introduced new destinations such as Alaska and guided itineraries to the national parks where clients feel more comfortable being closer to home. And that's proven to be extremely popular this year.
No, so you actually developed new products on this. So that's great. I want to go to you, Keith, about that. How has the pandemic changed what Abercrombie and Kent offers, and what have you had to change?
Sure, I have to say, James, A&K was pretty fortunate to only make changes related to COVID health and safety, those types of adjustments to protect our guests, because otherwise nearly all the other elements of small group journeys already fit into the guidelines for which we travel within now. I mentioned before, we do FIT and group just as well. We also have been operating really since last summer without interruption. Obviously, the destinations have interrupted, but we've continued to offer for those destinations that can be traveled to safely. We've continued to offer travel, and our guests have been traveling on the tailor-made side. The group stuff takes a little bit longer for obvious reasons. So we were, in fact, fortunate. The impact on guided vacations really, based on the pandemic, is it's forced us all to pivot a little bit and quite rapidly. And for us on a worldwide scale, because we operate in so many countries, we have offices in 55 different countries around the world, and we operate in almost twice as many as that. In the past, we've had to deal with circumstances that have been related to single destinations or a set of destinations, right? There have been some global events like 9/11, but never something such as long and sustained as a period of interruption that we had now.
Sure.
And that's required constant monitoring and the need for reactive adjustments. And that's been what's so interesting and challenging. But I have to say at the same time, because we do have our own colleagues on the ground virtually everywhere, we're able to adjust and analyze how that impacts and changes. Now, like some of the others, we've also introduced some new products that are more akin to the bubble-like travel that clients are interested in. So we've created new products in the U.S. Our Wings Over the World programs have expanded because they provide some bubble there, and so on. But in essence, I think for A&K, we're lucky because we've been structured kind of just for this type of circumstance.
No, that's great. And I'm glad to hear you're operating and have been operating. And Guy, sort of the same question. How has the pandemic changed? First of all, are you offering tours now? And second of all, what have you had to change?
Yeah, we actually are. We had our first domestic departure go out on May 1st with 16 guests. And we had another one go out with 32 guests on Saturday. So it's great to be back traveling again. We're super excited. And yes, I mean, obviously the pandemic has made us look at our operation quite differently. And I think one of the amazing things about the pandemic is we've become so much more nimble. So, we're in the past, if we're going to introduce a new itinerary, sometimes it took us a year in the making to come up with the itinerary. During the pandemic, we were able to launch new domestic programs within 3 months. So we've really shortened the cycle to be able to come up with new itineraries. And obviously, we've become a lot more sensitive to health and well-being. And one of the things that we've done with Luxury Gold and Insight Vacations is on all of our trips for 2021 and 2022, we've introduced a well-being director. So that's in addition to the travel director or the traveling concierge. And the thought there is that we want to have somebody who can, think about and manage all the logistics around, protocols and social distancing, mask wearing. And we can then leave the travel director or the traveling concierge to really focus on the guests and make sure they have a wonderful time with us. So that's certainly been a big change for us. But what I will say, James, fundamentally, I think that this is such a great opportunity for the guided vacation space, because really the things that make guided vacation so wonderful, the fact that we take care of all the details, essentially what's going to happen is the guest is going to arrive in the destination, and from there on, we're going to take care of every detail, and they're just going to enjoy their trip. And in this day and age with, border crossings and protocols and vaccines, the guests don't have to worry about that. We take care of that. We've got the wellbeing director. So I really think this is a a great inflection point for our segment, because what we always have done so well is so much more relevant in this day and age. I think it's a great opportunity for us.
Well, that's it. And sometimes there is opportunity in crisis, and I guess we found that out. Sherwin, I don't know if you've started yet, because obviously South Africa was not on the list for a while. It wasn't. Southern Africa. Have you started doing some tours there? And how has the pandemic changed what you offer?
We absolutely have been traveling, and that was the nice thing about the last year. We too have the largest ground infrastructure in all of Southern Africa. And so we were able to really pivot quite quickly. We've had guests travel throughout the pandemic, and next month we're actually seeing our highest travel numbers to Africa, which is very exciting for us. The destination when you are on safari is already a socially distant experience. So it's a safe destination in that regard. But what we looked at our business and we said, well, how can we make what we have even more exciting? And one of the things we looked at was our small group departures. Rather than having each travel with a minimum of 12, we revised our policies and said it will be guaranteed with a minimum of 4, meaning that all of our departures are literally guaranteed for those people who are wanting to travel on a small group journey. Obviously, the people who are traveling by themselves, it is customized by themselves, and they can travel whenever they want. Also, a great trend that we have been seeing is that people are now actually prepared to focus on a single destination rather than multiple destinations, which has really allowed people to be completely immersed in one destination. And what has really given us the greater opportunity is to include truly what we call make travel matter experiences, because these local communities have been impacted during COVID. All the destinations have been impacted, travelers have been impacted, and now this ability to connect with the destination, to connect with locals, doing it safely but leaving a lasting impact has been truly rewarding. And so across our 60 itineraries that we have across Africa, we now have 40 make travel matter experiences that guests can choose based on their interest and their willingness to give back. Very exciting times for us.
Absolutely. Sounds like a great product that is sort of give back to the community, especially communities that have experienced this crisis really firsthand. Jennifer, I'll let you close it out on this. I mean, Tauck is started operations. I know that. What have you had to do to change to adapt to the pandemic?
Thanks, James. Yes, we were lucky to start our winter and Yellowstone programs up in January. It was the first time that we were able to restart after the longest shutdown since World War II. So you knew we had been out there for a while. But what we're learning is that what everybody has said is we are continuing to be nimble. We are putting in protocols. All of those things are becoming table stakes for how every operator works. And we're finding that our guests are absolutely delighted, even though that there are additional protocols that have to come into place. In fact, we had one guest who came out of winter in Yellowstone and immediately booked the trip for the next year because she had such a great time. So we know that we can do this. And I guess I just want to close this out by emphasizing something that Guy said, and knowing that there's a bunch of advisors out there who, like us, are waking up every single morning to a headline that's changing, some new news piece of information that's changing. And I think what you've heard from this whole panel is that every single of us represents a whole host of people, hundreds of people behind the scenes that are monitoring headlines, that are working with local partners, that are understanding the changing conditions and are getting the latest and greatest information to partner with our advisors so that we can all go out and deliver the guest experience that we all desire and make those dreams come true. There is no better time to book with a guided travel company because we have those resources. We have global response teams. We do look at this constantly. And it's changing literally every day, right? We wake up to there's some new headline where we have to pivot or think that there's open or maybe it's closed or what do we do now or what's plan B or C or D or E. but we're doing those plans. And so it's the collective trust that we've all built from our hundreds and hundreds of years of operations that we can now bring to bear to deliver great experiences and get the luxury traveler back out there again, going where they want to go.
Well, absolutely. And it's in itself is a bit of a luxury. I want to turn to, how travel advisors, and those are all of our viewers out there, should be selling your products. What are kind of the keys to selling your upscale brand? I'm going to start with you, Keith. Obviously pretty much everybody in the industry knows Abercrombie and Kent, but what would you tell them today in terms of how to sell you?
I'm going to reiterate something Sherwin said, and that is that group size and guarantees matter.
Right.
First of all, group size dictates which hotels a tour operator can use, the restaurants or private venues you can access, the way the group connects even with locals with respect to authenticity. A&K never allows more than, as a maximum, 18 or 24, depending on the type of journey on a group tour. But on average, our groups have just about 14 guests on each one. Secondly, and importantly, we guarantee all of our group departures from just 2 people booked. So if a couple books on a group tour, it will operate. That means that advisors and their clients can plan securely without any concern that the tour is not going to operate. Second, I would say we need to research. I would recommend that we research the inclusions when booking, because the fine print is important. With A&K and some others on this call, guests rarely reach into their pocket once after they arrive in their destination, right? For A&K, even the arrival transfers are included always on a private basis. And then finally, I believe that deep roots in a destination are really critical to successful journeys, right? I mentioned before that we have more than 55 DMC offices around the world, A&K offices supporting all of our group journeys. No matter how well planned a group journey is, we believe that our A&K local contacts make all the difference when unexpected things happen on the ground, right? I can give you countless examples of times when guests' experience simply would not have been possible unless the A&K teams were on the ground to make logistics happen the way that they do. So for me, those are the 3 key things to focus on when selling, I believe, any group tours.
Absolutely. You have to make sure that tour is going to go. And if you're selling it as a travel advisor, you can't be stuck saying, well, they canceled that one. So especially now in this age when people are really don't want to get canceled anymore. That's for sure. Let me turn to Helen, and then I'll go to Sherwin. Helen, what are the keys to selling your products?
We want travel advisors to know that Kensington Tours is for clients who want to have a travel experience that is customized to the experience that they want to have. So for us, it's all about customization. So if a client's interested in art, in architecture, and they want to see specific galleries on their tour, we can do that. Or if a client has an interest in war history and wants to see specific sites, we can also work with our private guides to make sure that these needs are met. And I think, Jennifer mentioned the flexibility that we also need to have now with entry requirements. And I think that's the other piece that we can provide to our travel advisors. It's really understanding the local requirements and making sure our travel advisors have the trust in us to deliver on that promise.
We'll go to Sherwin because obviously Keith picked up on something you said, but you were guaranteeing your departures too. But what are the keys that you tell travel advisors today about selling African Travel Inc.?
Well, African Travel focuses on Africa exclusively. So combined years experience selling Africa, we are now surpassing 300 years in skill set. So when you hear us say, we know Africa, I want you to know that you can depend on us to match the right customer with the right Africa. So I mentioned earlier, the most important thing is defining the exact experience the client wants. And once we've defined that experience, we can really do anything. We are a one-stop shop for anything on the African continent, whether it is independent travel, small group travel, or large group travel. I will also encourage advisors. We have built out a content university on our agent portal for those who may not know Africa and would like to learn about Africa. And the second thing is for advisors who are still uncertain about how to answer certain questions to get guests over the buying line. We now have our video conferencing call tool available for us to do three-way conferencing to really help facilitate close the sales. And the last thing I would say is anything on Africa, if a client has dreamt it, we can deliver it. So really excited to be working with all of you, and yay to 2021.
Yeah, well, and goodbye 2020. Keep it in the dust. That's for sure. Guy, I'll let you close this out. What are the keys for travel that you tell travel advisors about selling luxury gold?
Well, James, I think at this stage, when we look at our booking patterns and our inquiries, we're getting lots of inquiries, but the bookings aren't quite converting as quickly as we would hope. And I think it's all about instilling confidence for the traveler.
Right.
And, we do 85% plus of our business through travel advisors. So they're the ones that are speaking to the guests. So I think it's really critical that they do give the guests the confidence to be able to book and travel with us. So we've talked about all that we do on trip with our wellbeing directors, travel directors, the infrastructure we have in Europe to support our guests while they're traveling. But it's also important for them to know that we also have been now a lot more flexible in terms of our booking policies. So, for example, we allow guests to change their itinerary or date up to 30 days prior to departure with no penalties. So we are trying to be flexible. And what I ask for the support from our travel advisor partners is to really speak to the guests, let them know that they are booking with a very solid company, both in terms of how we operate, but also we're a very financially stable company, so there's no concerns there. We can weather not operating for several years if need be. Hopefully that doesn't.
Well, you were testing that one. I tell you, nobody was operating for a year, so let's hope we don't have to go beyond 1 year.
Exactly, but we have the wherewithal to withstand a prolonged downturn. But so we are a very financially stable company, and I just ask them to please, let them know they're booking with a solid company. We're going to take care of the guests. And if something changes, they have to change their departure date or their itinerary, we're more than happy to do that for them. So that's instilling confidence would be my main message.
Instilling confidence and flexibility. Absolutely. Helen, let's go to the next question. Really is focused on what is selling now, both for this year and into 22. And if you got 23 sales, what looks to be the most popular destinations for Kensington?
Well, just before the pandemic, we launched our North America product, which ended up being perfectly timed. So we're certainly seeing increased demand.
You knew there was COVID, right?
I didn't predict this. But certainly Hawaii, Alaska national parks are really, really selling for this year. Right. But I think with more and more Americans being fully vaccinated now and more travel restrictions being lifted, the demand is also very strong and increasing for international destinations. So we're seeing our average trip price increasing by about 25% as clients seem to be spending more on longer trips and with bigger parties. And we're seeing demand for certainly Iceland is popular. We recently had a webinar for travel advisors, and we had hundreds attend because I think the demand certainly is there. But also seeing Egypt, Greece certainly is in demand as well.
No, those are great destinations. And let me go to Keith. What is Abercrombie and Kent seeing as the most popular destinations being booked for both this year and into next year?
Yeah, I mean, for us, we've shifted our focus on destinations, obviously, that are open. I can tell you that for 2022, sales are extraordinarily strong. Bookings are extraordinarily strong, and there are few limitations in terms of what is booking. Right? There are some more obvious, more challenged destinations with regard to COVID still in our world that are booking less. But by and large, 2022 is an open game. And in fact, James, I would recommend strongly that particularly for destinations with that demand, let's use North America, for example, those places that are open, I would recommend that people book sooner than later because inventory and availability is becoming a real issue. Beyond the U.S., which has been very strong for us, and coincidentally, we did at the beginning of last year launch our new A&K U.S.A. DMC for the first time. But beyond that, and of course, Iceland and some other individual destinations, Africa has been very strong for us. Egypt has been very strong for us. Other places where people who are willing and able to travel in open air and naturally distanced destinations have been strong and solid. On a global level, I'll share that our local DMCs have been focused on selling their own destinations to their domestic clients. The reason I mention that, and the reason it's important for the U.S. advisors on our call is that by maintaining the operation of our domestic markets, it has kept our staff in each of these destinations strong operationally, viable, ready to go, ready to react for when demand turns. So even for those destinations that cannot accommodate inbound international traffic, those are still functioning for Abercrombie & Kent. We are absolutely positively ready to go when places open up.
No, that's great. You're all ready, and we are opening it up. Jennifer, talk a little bit about the destinations that Tauck is seeing are really booking well, both this year and into 22.
So when Arthur Tauck started the company 96 short years ago, we started on the dusty roads of New England. And it's no surprise that our U.S. trips right now are just exploding, and because it's where people can go. And
so you're back on the dusty roads of New England.
We will be this summer. Absolutely. But right now, we are operating on our Kentucky program, on our DC programs, and in addition to Charleston, Savannah, and New Orleans. So we're out there, and we're adding new departures and new tours seemingly each week as we're able to actually get the clearance to go ahead and get out there and operate. But the short answer to your question is they're going wherever they can. And so the U.S. definitely is very, very strong. We also saw, and if you want it this summer, book it now. Great demand in Greece and Iceland, where we cruise for this summer. That's nearly gone. The Galapagos is also selling very, very well for us right now, as is Costa Rica. So we continue to see that. Now, having said all of that, 60% of our guests still want Europe as their primary destination. So we are, as I'm sure everybody is, crossing fingers and toes and talking to everyone that they can to get those borders open, because I do think we'll see a great surge, depending on when that announcement comes, for the balance of the year. We're seeing a lot of close-in bookings because there is that have vaccination, will travel phenomenon going on. And so those vaccination demand of getting out there and getting wherever that they can go is real. I do want to echo what Keith said, though, that if you are planning anything, book it now. Right. We already into 2022 are seeing very robust demand. Some of the best, who knows what the year will turn out to be given the uncertainty that continues to await us. But the advanced bookings is historical for us. And we're seeing really strong demand, for example, in Europe and in Switzerland and Ireland, again, places that you can be outside. We operate normally in 70 countries on all 7 continents, and all of the areas are continuing to hold and grow dramatically, but particularly in Europe. So book now if you want that space, because as things open, the floodgates will indeed open, and you want to make sure that you have your seat. So we look forward to the continued news, that's going to happen. But I know that all destinations where we can operate will have a robust year.
No, so that's the message. It's booked now. Guy, what is Luxury Gold saying? You did start U.S. programs. You have U.S. programs, but obviously you have a lot of Europe too. What's it looking like for the rest of this year and into 22?
Yeah, so like everybody else on the call, 2021, I'd say 90% plus of our business is domestic, because that's where people can travel to. And our second best-selling destination in 21 is Iceland, because it's open to American travelers. So that makes sense, obviously. But yes, we need Europe to open. And what's very interesting, James, is that, even before a country formally opens, if there's just a politician that makes a statement about opening up the country, whether it was France recently, Italy, we see a huge surge in requests or searches on our website. So we know that there's tremendous pent-up demand. And again, I echo what Keith and Jennifer said. There should be a great sense of urgency from the advisors to get their clients booked for a number of reasons. Number one, we are seeing record forward sales. In our case, we did come out with our 2022 itineraries earlier than we have historically because we knew people were going to be looking to 2022. But we also have people that have rebooked from 2019 and 2020 and 2021 into 2022. And we also have future travel credits that are going to be converted. So we already have a very big base of business on the books for 2022, much more than we've ever had before. And as we know, there's also a very high interest level in luxury travel. So I would strongly suggest that we get out there and we get people booked for 2022, because I do believe space is going to be tight. And I think as soon as Europe opens, there's going to be a surge in bookings. And there's a lot of talk about the UK-US corridor. So our UK business is starting to pick up. We have hotels in London that are starting to see pick up in business. So we need to get on and start booking guests.
Yeah, I know we're all eager to get back to Europe, and as soon as I know everybody's kind of chomping at the bit. And Sherwin, we'll close up with you. You're really focused on Africa, but within Africa, what is really booking well for you this year and into next?
Well, I share the same sentiments that has been shared. 2022 is record-breaking for us. We are up 600% on 2019 numbers, which was a great year, proving that luxury customers do have disposable income. They are looking to book now, and they're booking the destinations that are open. So that is very, very, very encouraging. And Africa is still very much a top bucket list destination. On the continent, we are seeing all regions performing really, really well, led with South Africa, and then East Africa, Kenya, and Tanzania. An interesting new trend for luxury is Botswana, only because the camps are so small, there's very, very little space in Botswana. Right. And that has really been a great destination, because I like to refer to it as a high price but low volume destination. Right. So Botswana is really, really trending well. We are also seeing a lot of family group travel being booked far out. Clearly, families are tired of not connecting, and we are seeing space, just like everybody else, really becoming a difficult commodity to find. So all in all, Africa's doing really well. And selfishly, the longer Europe is closed, Africa will do better, but we need Europe to open, because if Europe opens, we all do well.
Absolutely. Well, let's hope that is the case. All right, the last question. Anything else you want to get out to travel advisors about your company, about selling luxury guided vacations, and really in this environment and heading into 2022? I'm going to start with you, Helen. Anything else you want to tell travel advisors?
I think certainly we've seen the industry has fundamentally changed, and I think clients want flexibility and control. And so at Kensington Tours, we're responding to that with creating custom itineraries, and where we can be flexible and personalized, but also looking at the changes that might happen, and we can certainly respond to that as well. We have a number of country champions, both with our destination group and our local teams, that can respond with changes to entry requirements daily. They're in communication. And so we can certainly make sure that we can pivot and be nimble, as everyone had said, to respond to our travel advisors.
Keith, anything else you want to tell travel advisors about your company, about luxury guided vacations, about your group and independent vacations that they should know this year?
Absolutely. It's always a great story to tell with A&K. As I've mentioned, we do almost as much luxury tailor-made travel or FIT travel as we do luxury guided vacations. We've been watching trends develop for 2020. We believed that FIT would actually emerge stronger. And of course, in 2020, that's just about what we did, was FIT. But we really thought that FIT would emerge somewhat more greatly, intensely than groups. And I'm actually happy to say that both FITs and group journeys are pacing pretty equally well with regard to forward bookings for 2022. And we, like many of the others on the call, are seeing just a very strong, very optimistic year for both types of travel. We build flexibility into all of our programs, whether it's FIT or whether it's group product. And we complete all of our group product with certain amenities that enable flexibility and individualized travel, including things like Design Your Day, where on every program we offer, people have choices that they can make to do something more active or more culturally focused or more foodie focused or so on. So there are lots of options with A&K. We can't wait to hear from you. Thank you all very much for your business. We really appreciate it.
No, that's great. And Guy, for Luxury Gold, anything else you want to tell travel advisors about your company, about what you offer and what things are looking like for the rest of the year?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Jay. Yeah, one thing that I just want to mention, and Sherwin reminded me when you mentioned how much family travel we're seeing. So one of the things we're seeing across both Luxury Gold and Insight Vacations actually is a lot of advisors are taking out group space. And one thing we did particularly on our Insight Vacation brand for 21 and 22 is we're now allowing advisors to take out a group as small as 12 people. So they can do a private small group. They can choose any itinerary in the brochure, and we can customize that for a small family or maybe a small group of friends wanting to travel together. So certainly smaller groups, but groups in general has been very popular. We're seeing huge growth in our group movement for 2022. So I'd certainly suggest that if advisors have a potential group or a small group of family want to travel together, to certainly reach out to us about our new small private group journeys that we're offering on Insight and, of course, Luxury Gold.
Well, indeed, a small group is where it's at. I know a lot of you offer that, and it's great, especially in this environment. And Sherwin, anything else you want to tell travel advisors about African Travel Inc. and what the future holds?
Travel does something that no other industry can claim to do. We take people's dreams and carve it into reality. And we are seeing still demand for 2021, people who want to escape that rote life that we have been living in for the last year and a half, which is really encouraging. What we have launched unique for advisors is a independent educationals to Africa, where you can travel with your loved one to go and experience the destination firsthand. We are so encouraged because as advisors get to see the destinations, they share that news with their clients and their clients actually end up booking. So really encourage you, if you are listening to this, if you are interested to know more about Africa, to get onto our educational programs. It is truly, truly amazing. So thank you for everything that you have done, will be doing, and continue to be doing for us. It is something that we could not do without your help. 92% of our business actually comes from the advisor community. We know how hard you work. It is something that we will live to protect every single day, and look forward to working with you. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sherwin. And Jennifer, why don't you close it out? What else do you want to tell travel advisors about Tauck, about what you're offering this year, about the whole upscale tour and guided vacation market?
Well, first of all, I want to echo Sherwin and everyone on the panel and just say thank you. You all have been such amazing partners, and I know, we all know how hard it has been for you to move guests 3 and 4 and 5, if not more times, and it's exhausting, and we've all been looking for these rays of lights. And so you're enormous partners to us, and I just want to, again, echo that gratitude I know we all feel. We've launched, I do want to share a few things. We've launched a bunch of tools to try and make your life easier wherever we can and take out those pain points. We've launched a Tauck Assist. So if you've got a client who wants to work with someone directly with you at Tauck, we can set up that call so the three of us can get on the phone together or Zoom together or whatever the right format it would be to make sure that their dreams are fulfilled and that you get all of your questions asked together. So we have that ability. We have Brochure Direct where we can, I know that people still like those printed brochures, even though I think we're mostly marketing digitally now, but we can send that direct to your behalf from us to you on Tauck's dime to your clients. We have probably the most successful thing that we've done in the last year is the array of different communication tools that we've put out there. So whether it's the newsletters that we're putting out or the Inside Tauck, so you can get that behind the scenes experience. I mean, we get a couple thousand people to learn about a destination like Jerusalem or listen to a speaker from Alaska to try and bring and create that excitement for your client that exists. But one of the pages in particular, the Open for Travel page, I would highly encourage you to bookmark and use, because not only will we be sharing new tours that we're launching, like we'll be back on the Mississippi this year, as well as our new Death Valley program, but we have, as we turn lights on, and we've used that metaphor of a porch light that will be ready when you are, our porch light will be on. And as we're turning those lights back on again domestically and globally, we will be posting those to the Open for Travel page. So it's easy for you to find what exactly is operating. Mm-hmm. So I would say that all of those tools hopefully are helpful. I can tell you that there's an amazing group of Tauck directors chomping at the bit to welcome your guests. And so I would echo and close by just saying what I think we've all said is book now for 21, 22, and even into 23, and book with confidence, because this is the year for flexibility to make sure that we can work together to keep your clients on the books and have their dreams fulfilled. So again, thank you. And we'll each day the light gets brighter, and we're all here ready to welcome your clients aboard with us.
Well said. And I want to thank all of you. It's been a great panel. Really, you have the cream of the crop in luxury and upscale tours and guided vacations here. These are some of the best brands in the market. In fact, these are the best brands in the market. So please do exactly what they say. Book now for your clients because it is going to come back, and it's coming back now, and it's going to come back really strong. Again, I want to thank you for taking the time to be with us. And I know some of you will be on some other panels with us, but we look forward to seeing you soon live at some point in the near future, because we're getting tired of these Zoom things. But even though here we are at a show that's a Zoom show. But again, good luck with your products and go out there, travel advisors, and book these wonderful companies. I also want to encourage you to go to our exhibition floor now, if you have a chance. Get there, see all the products that are available there. We have a lot of great booths out there, and also avail yourself of other opportunities. We have a lot more. We have great content. This, if I do say so myself, this has been one of the best luxury events I've been able to attend and put on. So you got some wonderful people in the luxury space that you can learn a lot from. Again, I'm James Shillinglaw for Virtual Vacation Events.